Hello, hello, and welcome to the Be the CEO of Your Life live show. And I hear an echo. Do you hear that too?
I do not.
Okay. Well, if anybody's watching and they hear an echo, let us know. Otherwise, I'm just gonna roll with it. Anyway, I'm Yvonne of Major Self Coaching, and I help driven entrepreneurs to make more impact, to work less, so they can finally enjoy their life. And the beauty of it is when you do that, your income also tends to go up. And this show is all about sharing tips with you as an entrepreneur, how you can actually run your business with more ease, more comfort, and making sure that you're doing the right thing. And I'm very excited because today with me is Karen. Hi, Karen.
Hi there. Thank you for having me.
It's definitely my pleasure because you're one of my favorite entrepreneurs. So, Karen, can you quickly introduce yourself to the people that are watching and they may not know you yet?
Sure. My name is Karen, and I am a property and casualty insurance broker.
Right. Okay. So I know very few people that are so enthusiastic about what they do as you are, and you are into insurance.
Yes.
And I laugh because it's not the most common, oh, I'm into insurance. Well, it is because it's what you do, but not everybody gets so excited about insurance as you do. So tell me, how come you're so excited about insurance? Because I think everybody needs to know.
Sure. So the reason why I get so excited about insurance is because when I went to college for computer science and computer programming. And when you program, as long as the end result is exactly what you want, you can get there a lot of different ways. And when the Y2K era hit, year 2000, I had to make a career change, and I landed up in an insurance agency, and I went and I got my license, and I realized that insurance for me is like computer programming because the end result is always going to be the same. It's just a matter of how you get there. Different policies, different endorsements, different exclusions. So the mindset is the same for me, and that's why I love it.
That's amazing. I really truly love that. Now, tell the people that are watching, because I know in the Netherlands where I currently live, people get insured for so many things. And when I lived in South Africa, but also when I lived in the UK, a lot of the insurances we know here, they didn't. My friends were like, what are you talking about? They didn't understand it. Now, as a business owner, I know a lot of business owners think, oh, insurance, never mind. I'm not into that. So talk to us why insurance is critical to your company.
It's very critical because at any given time, you can have a claim, a situation that happens that you did not plan for, and that incident could really close your business. And what you need to do is get a product that can protect you. So, in the event there is a detrimental loss, you're not going to lose your business. And that's why it's so important.
I hear you. And is it also the case that if I'm not insured or if my business is not insured, that I then personally could be held liable for the damage that is done?
Absolutely, 100%. Because what happens is that when a business is in a situation where they're brought into suit, the lawyers are going after the pockets, and they're going to bring everybody and anybody into that suit. And the next level of the business is the business owners or even the board. The board of directors can be brought into the suit. So yes, you have to look past just the business and you personally.
I hear you. Yeah. So what insurances would you recommend as a business owner?
As a business owner, number one, you want to protect your premises, okay? Your premises and your building. So from there, you would need general liability and property insurance. After that, as long as you have folks that are on payroll, the next item would be workers' comp insurance. The next thing that I would recommend, very hot in today's industry, is cyber insurance. Cyber insurance about 5 years ago was a little bit further down on the totem pole as a list of coverages to get. But since of all the crime, cybersecurity incidents, the cyber crime criminals, so to speak, they have risen. So therefore, cyber insurance is moving its way up the totem pole as an important coverage to have. So those are the key ones. There's so many different other insurances, but those are the key.
Right. Okay. So let's stay with the cyber security insurance for a moment, because that's where you ended. So if I understand correctly, that if I get hit from a cybersecurity attack, right, then there's damage for me and for my clients, and I could potentially be held responsible for that. And then the insurance is making sure that I'm covered for incidents like that, or how does it work?
Sure. So when you get a cyber liability policy,
yeah,
you are going to protect you, the business owner, your data.
Yeah.
You're going to also protect your customers' data.
Right.
Okay? And then what happens is that if there is a cyber case, a cyber claim, there are different levels of coverage on that cyber policy, because each coverage will be triggered by the type of criminal attack that occurred. Meaning, if you have a cyber policy and you do not have coverage for what's called bricking, you have a cyber incident and it shuts down your infrastructure as far as computers completely, and you need to buy all new equipment. If you don't have that layer of bricking, there's a good chance you will have no coverage. So it's not just about, I have cyber, I'm good. You have to look at all the different types of incidents that can happen. And if I may, a good analogy is, you have a homeowner's policy. Because you have a homeowner's policy doesn't mean that it's going to cover you for theft. It's the same thing with cyber. Just because you have a cyber policy doesn't mean that it's going to cover you for bricking.
Right. Okay. So I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, okay, if I ever need to take out an insurance, I need to talk to an expert, because this is really where it can obviously go wrong, because I'm like, why am I not? Why am I not secured for theft when I have a homeowner policy? You know?
Yep. Yeah, it's the agents and the brokers that do the deep dive and educate their clients.
Yeah.
And that is super important. And to me, one of the reasons why insurance has a negative vibe out there in society is because it's not understood. And it's not understood because there are many agents and brokers out there who are just looking to make the commission on that one policy and see you later. It's not really doing the deep dive and explaining the coverages to your client. And if we were all like that, the stigma, if you will, of insurance would be very positive, more than it is now. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Yeah.
But then is it possible to be oversecured? Because, you mentioned it, not everybody in your line of industry has that amount of integrity that you have. But is it possible that I can take out an insurance and another one and be oversecured?
Absolutely. There is a possibility. So what you need to do is, what I recommend is work with your agent or your broker, and there's a checklist, and just go through everything that you have, because there are times where two policies can overlap.
Right.
If they overlap, that's your job as an agent, is to explain that. And you say, okay, this is how this one works, and this is how this one works. Right now, you may have a little bit of an overlap. Do you want to keep it that way, or do you want to hear options on to separate it? And again, that's the job of the agent.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we all need insurance, but we also need an insurance agent to make sure that we get covered for the right thing, we don't get over covered, and we actually understand what we're covered for.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
Does that happen, or do you have any experience where people think they have insurance and then the claim comes and you have to tell them, I'm sorry, but this isn't in your policy?
Absolutely, it is. And it recently just happened, not last week, but the week before. One of my clients had water damage in their building. And my client actually rents space from the landlord. Mm-hmm. And there was water damage, what have you. But it was the fault of the tenant. The tenant was totally negligent. And what happened was the claim was denied. And the reason why it was denied is because in the lease agreement, it is very clear that the landlord is responsible for anything and everything from a damage standpoint. So when the insurance company saw this lease, they realized, okay, transfer of the risk to the landlord. And that is an example of my client thinking that they have coverage. Oh, okay, but it's not about the insurance. It goes prior to that, the contract, the lease, and that's where the lawyers come involved. Because I do get times where it's like, oh, here's my lease. Can you read it for me and let me know? For me as an insurance agent, I see from 30,000 feet, I look at it and pull the insurance. When it comes to the legal jargon and what have you, that is not my expertise. So it's super important, and that's part of the risk analysis process. So to answer your question, the long answer is that yes, I do have times where claims are denied due to something prior to the insurance.
Right. Okay, so we not just need insurance, we not just need insurance broker, but we also need a lawyer.
Yes.
This is going to be an expensive call, Karen. I can tell. I'm coming away from this call with my of experts. Okay, I hear you. Yeah. Now, I'm just thinking. I'm a person. You're a person. Every business owner is a person. How much do your personal life as well as your business kind of come together in terms of insurance? Does that make any difference? My personal situation, does it impact on the insurance for my company?
You could not have asked that question any better, because just on Sunday, no joke, okay, my husband and I got on a plane yesterday. We headed to Florida. Sunday, we were packing, cleaning, and everything. And I come downstairs, and in the family room on the chair, I noticed a wet spot. And I'm like, what's that wet spot? So then I looked up, and there was a huge wet spot in the ceiling. And I'm like, oh my God. So I called the plumber. Plumber came. He had to, cut the ceiling, So my husband says, is this insurance? And I was like, it depends. And he said, why? And I was like, depends on what it is. If it's wear and tear from the pipe, there may not, small coverage, what have you. And he's like, all right, so are we going to put it through? I said, no. I was like, we're not, because if the damages are $1,200 and our deductible's $1,000, what's the point? I was like, it just doesn't make sense. And that's exactly what I would tell every one of my clients. So you could not have asked that question at any better time.
Oh my word! But is it fixed? I mean, you have a hole in your. It always happens when you're going away.
Oh my gosh, we were freaking out, and what we have to do, and moral of the story is the plumber still didn't find the issue. We flushed, we ran the shower, we did this, we did that. No water, but everything around it was wet, so he doesn't know where the water's coming from. So we have to just turn off the water, and while we're not there, and that's what we did before we left. And you're right, it always happens right before you leave. But you know what, Yvonne? Thankfully, it happened while we were there.
True. That is very. Oh, can you imagine coming home to a water ballet?
Oh, right. Right?
Yeah. That's not what you want either. Okay, yeah.
That's
so
positive.
I hear you. Do you have any examples of us that showcase why we need the insurances we spoke about? Maybe about someone who didn't take it and then wish they wanted it, or something like that.
Yeah, let me think here. Yeah, can we go on to another question? Is that possible?
Why you think about it? Yeah, sure. Okay, so what you run your own business, right?
Yes.
And people are watching this, and many of them run their own business about it as well. Now, like I said, I think you have a secret ingredient somewhere, because every time I speak to you, you're like very upbeat. You love what you do. I know you get up at ridiculous hours. To me, for you, it's normal. I know that.
Yeah. And
you're just like a ray of sunshine. You love it so much. So, but we all know that business goes up and down.
Right.
It's. I was speaking to. We had a mastermind yesterday, speaking to other entrepreneurs, and one was like, "Why is this so hard?" And everybody said, "Part of life. This is part of life." But what's your secret? How come you come across as this ray of sunshine, really loving what you do? Share what you do so others can learn from you.
Sure. So basically, I just break everything down. And I feel that if I break everything down, it is a little bit easier for me to digest and come up with a plan. And once I break it down and I do that little piece, and I'm like, all right, that worked out good. And then I go to the next piece, and then I do that. And before you know it, it just comes together. And that's how I approach pretty much everything when it comes to running the business. I just break it down, because if you say to yourself, I want to increase revenues by 1.5 million. All right. How do you get there? Like, all you hear 1 point, like, what's your road, So you just have to, I know everybody's heard this before. You just have to say, okay, like, what's your goal and how you're going to get there? And you make like little steps, and you just break it down. That's the easiest thing. And it goes to with even like reading, like right now I'm reading a bunch of books, and I just read a couple pages a day. And, one day I'm reading one book, the next day I'm reading another book. And I don't know, I just feel more well-rounded when I do it that way. So I just break it down. That's simple. And if I may, it goes to what I had a vision for about 3 years ago, as far as breaking insurance down. Earlier in the show, just now, I had mentioned that the insurance word has a bad rap in society.
Yes.
And because the agents and the brokers don't do a good job on educating their clients.
Yeah.
So I took that thought 3 years ago, and I said, how could I make that better? So I said, okay, I'm going to start a video series called The Monday Momentum. And I started out with that. And then I said, okay, what's the next thing? And I said, okay, a podcast. So I put together a podcast. And then, all right, what's the next thing? All right, let's start writing. Let's be a contributor to some magazines. So then I just started writing. And now all my social media is full motion. So I have the active LinkedIn. I have an active YouTube channel. I have an active podcast. I have active contributor writing. And what I did was I just took my vision, which was to get more social media presence, and I broke it down. Started out with the videos, started out with the podcast, and I just broke it down. So that's it. That's the secret. And when you break it down, you're less stressed.
True. That's very true.
You're doing a small piece of it. And when you're doing a small piece of it, it's taking less time. If you're working towards that 1.5, you're going to be working 26 hours a day.
yeah, sure.
So you just got to break it down. And that's what I do. Everything, break it down.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Yeah, it's like how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right?
Right. And here's the other thing. I'm going to add this. I even do it with my home chores. It's my responsibility. I'm the gardener of the family. All right. So when I have weeds, I go to different sections. One day I do one section, and then the next day I do another section. Maybe a week I'll do another section. Instead of being out there for 3 hours doing weeds, just break it down in 20-minute clips.
Yeah.
And that's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's and it's a lot what I take my clients through as well. What you're saying is you set a goal. The goal in itself can be major, 1.5 million, or your entire garden weed free. Not maybe entirely the same, but it can be as daunting, both of the goals. And then you're actually, and I think you're very right. And I think this is what happens to a lot of entrepreneurs. They go like, I want to make that 1.5 or whatever goal they set to themselves, but I'm here where, the gap it feels too big.
Right.
And basically what you're doing is you're minimizing the gap. And then all of a sudden, oh, I can do that. Sure, I can, start a weekly live video, and you do it every Monday. I know and I always have to laugh because I think you do it one of the first things, even, isn't it? Because you're very early on LinkedIn with the video as well.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know. I'm very organized. I'm super organized. And I think that's one of my features of being successful is because how organized I am. And, I get looks and comments, but whatever, it's worked for me. So, yeah.
But that's another one, which I really, really like is indeed, it works for me and I like it. And I've set a goal. Because that's another thing that I see happening, in my coaching practice is people tend to overcomplicate, right?
Yeah.
So whenever they want to do something, they already come up with it because they are familiar with it. So they have, let's say you want more clients, to stick to your 1.5 million, you need more clients. So how do you get more clients? Well, there are many ways, but how do you get them now? Can you do more of that? And what I also see happening is then, oh, well, I could do this or I could do that, and then they make it big. Yep. They overcomplicate things. Well, so and so does it this way, and they do it that way. But how do you do it? What's your preferred way? Right. And then you bring back the ease and the fun. And I think that's why you're smiling so much, because you're having a lot of fun. That also helps.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm always all ears. I'm very observant. Let's put it that way. I'm very, very observant. So, while I'm here in Florida, I said to myself, I'm going to get some videos. And this is like, I look at it as a great, a different area for me to do some of my social media, and very, very interesting. I mean, because I'm sure the contractors insurance down here, the things to look out for is different than what it is in the North Coast, Northeast, and so it's interesting. It really is.
I like that. So the inspiration is everywhere.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, hands down.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, and maybe that's another thing. That's a question for you. Is it that you also like to travel, so you keep your perspective fresh?
I do, and I do like to travel, and this industry has allowed me to do that because all I need is a wall outlet. Okay, that's all I need. And if I don't have a wall outlet, I just need a fully charged phone and a fully charged Surface, and I will be able to work wherever. So yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. I like that. Before we forget, because that's very important, if anybody wants to chat to you about insurance and, to make sure that they get it right, are they not, at risk because they don't have the insurance, or are they paying too much because they're oversecured, or do they maybe think they're all covered and then actually they aren't at all? They really need to reach out to you, and the best way to do that is to connect with you on LinkedIn. So there we go. It really doesn't. It's so weird here. You're Karen-Adamsbaum, and it's with all E's, right? Because I often spell it wrong, so it's all E's, E's, right? East, yeah. In Dutch, it's the other way around. That's why I always mix it up. And people can connect with you, chat to you, and ask you for any advice or take out an insurance if they may.
Absolutely. I mean, if anything, I am here for any questions. It's not about, okay, come to me because I could save you money. That is not my motto at all. My motto is come to me, let me educate you, which leads me to that is where I came up with the name for my podcast. It's called Risk Intelligence. And it's just little, 5-minute or less clips of little segments of what I do about insurance terminology. And again, I'm here to educate. I want to get rid of this bad rap in the insurance industry. I really do.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I like that. Okay, Karen, we're coming to the end of this show. So is there any question or matter that you want to share with us before we wrap it up?
Yeah, no. I did want to say I still haven't thought of an example for you. That question that we were talking about before, but I apologize for that. But no, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity, and I welcome all messages and contacts. Let me help you understand insurance better. Really.
I love that. I think that's a great closing sentence. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you being here. And I know that whenever I have an insurance question, you're my go-to person. So thank you so much. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back tomorrow. See you later. Bye-bye for now.